Okay, good morning. Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Sometimes I wonder why they don't take this phone away from me. But this morning, I did my regular routine, got up a little late, got a really good sleep last night. Drank a cup of coffee when I got up, did my cold plunge, ate good last night, so I know I had good fuel in the tank. And then had another cup of coffee, and then wound up in a conversation with my kids over some things that we kind of deal with here, and it set off a chain of thinking, and here I am in the same place. It's like I can't get to my work until I share this. So it's like, okay, I'll do it. I'll share it. And I don't know, it's kind of a parable, I guess, in a way. And the parable is on your homestead, you can easily have everything that exists in your town, you can have it on your homestead. And so here's an example of it. I have my own barber shop here. And I'm not making fun of barbers in any way. I got a friend that's a barber, a good friend that's a barber. But the barber shop here on Baker's Green Acres, I'm licensed through me, through the authority given to me to run this outfit, right? And that's a good question. Well, where's that authority come from? Okay, that's a good one. I'm going to find a chair to sit down. I'm serious about this. This might take a little longer than usual. I'd like to go in here to the milk house. Maybe I can pull it off in here. Sometimes the reception's not that good, but it's kind of windy out there. I'll see if I can do it in here. Chair. Okay, where am I going to put the phone? On the table saw. That'll work. Maybe if I'm over in this vicinity, it'll work. Okay, I made some notes, too, on a piece of plywood there. One of my friends calls me the Reverend. Okay. So last weekend, I'll start it here. Last weekend, I was asked to give a briefing to a bunch of people up in Traverse City on preparedness. Okay. Preparedness to me doesn't mean getting a whole bunch of beans, bullets, and Band-Aids like some people in the prepper community think. To me, preparedness is, as a farmer, like winter's coming, I have to prepare for that, right? Summer's coming, I have to prepare for that, and so on. It's, you know, if I'm going to milk cows, I have to be prepared. All right, it shut me off. It's not going to let me do it in here. The thief comes to steal. All right, so I'm going to come out here. I think I should be able to get it done out here. It's not too windy. Profound thoughts, right? So I'm always preparing for the next thing, right? The next season, the next storm, the next whatever. So that's my idea of preparing, right? But that's just a small component of the overall lifestyle that I think we were meant to live. We were meant to live this lifestyle, I believe. I had a conversation with a lady at this conference, and she said to me, I cut hair out of my garage. And I was like, what? You know, she's a real nice lady. I hope I see her again. She was just this really sweet spirit. But I thought, why is she so afraid to say that she cuts hair out of her garage? And I asked her, and she said, well, you're supposed to have a license. I thought, oh, that whole routine again. You gotta have a license to do it. So it got me to thinking, how did we get here where everything that we want to do there is some entity, some thought process that wants to tell us that we need to get permission to do it. How did we get here? You know? And I think it goes back to a verse in the Bible, and I know I will lose people here, but before I lose you, think about this. Just because something ain't true doesn't mean you can't believe in it. That's a line from a movie. Robert Duvall was playing Uncle So-and-so in Secondhand Lions. My wife's grandfather watched it twice a day in the 6 months before he passed away. He loved that movie. And so I've watched it because I respect that guy. And it's true. Just because something ain't true. Let's say that the verse in the Bible, John 10:10, let's say it ain't true. I don't believe in the Bible. Let's say that's somebody's attitude. Doesn't mean you can't believe in it. Because what he said was the enemy comes to destroy. And he goes on to say that the enemy uses lies and corruption and everything else. And he was quoting from what the Christ said. And he said, but I have come so that you will have life more abundantly. Right? Well, when you look into that, life more abundantly, does that come from the destroyer, the enemy? No, the enemy seeks to tamp you down, hold you in control, lie to you, deceive you. And we can see those entities all around us, especially in the farming business. And in the farming business, I think all the smart kids left the farm and all the dumb kids stayed on the farm. That's the thought process, but I don't really believe that. It's just that that's kind of what we're dealing with. But the truth is, what is truth, right? Trust the science. Science used to be truth. It's been co-opted. Now it's not truth. I mean, they give themselves room in there to not tell the whole truth. And say a community like the agricultural community that I'm a part of, they use lies, deception, and untruth to steal and destroy people's well-being, health, mental health, all kinds of things like that. And we see it all around. But then we come to an operation that I'm running, and our mental health is good, our physical health is good, and I think we have a handle on truth. The truth is that if I feed my cows properly, they give milk, and it's nutrition. It's good milk. Our bodies can digest it and do well on it, and my customers can. And that's just an example. That's only one thing that we do here. And in industrial agriculture, it's all broken into components. So you produce milk and you produce lots of milk, but it goes on a semi and it goes someplace else and it's processed. Here, this morning I produced 10 gallons of milk. It went directly in jars. The jars went directly in a refrigerator, and my customers will get that tomorrow morning, right? So we own the entire process, and out of running that entire process, there is gratification. I get gratification. When my customers get the milk and they say thank you, it really means something. When the semi picks up, 10,000 gallons of milk, the driver doesn't even say thank you to the people that work there that don't own. They're just employees there, and they might not even speak English anyway. So that whole process, there is no gratification. There's no end product, and that is just a breeding ground for the enemy to lie, cheat, steal, and deceive, right? And destroy. If you don't play the game right, they'll just take all the money away, and you'll be taking your buildings down. Where I don't really look at this farm as though I own it. What does that even mean? Like, did Adam, again with the Bible, Mark, huh? Okay, did he own the Garden of Eden? No. He was a resident. He was a caretaker of it, and he was tasked with following directions from the person who created it, right? I'm the same way. I'm the same way. I'm traveling through here. I'm not going to be, in the grand scope of things, I won't be here forever. And I travel through. And then hopefully somebody else can pick it up and travel through with it, right? So I think that there's a great amount of deception that keeps people in a place where they can be lied to, they can be put out, they can be destroyed. And it's not that they're going to be lied to and put out and destroyed by the creator of the whole thing. Of course, who did create, when you look at industrial ag, who created that? That's kind of a man-made thing, and then they incorporate pieces of the creation into it, the land, the animals. They don't treat the land good, they don't treat the animals good, and they get lied to constantly. Oh, you need to put this on your fields. Oh, you need to inject this into your cows, and so on it goes. And what's the result of that? Death and destruction, right? That's what I see right now, because now we're hearing echoes from people who are supposed leaders that are saying, oh, good food, good health, good soils. We'll see if they mean what they say. That's all I say. I'm not putting my faith in any person, what they say. We'll see what happens here. But I know in the meantime, here there will be good health, there will be good soil, and there will be, truth going on here. So that is all within our ability to understand, for sure. We can. And I was listening to some political things this morning, and I started to hear more of, well, we can't even sell raw milk. Well, I do. I trade milk for pieces of paper that I can get other things with. And I don't see where the liar, the cheater, the destroyer can take that other than sending men here to prevent me from doing that. Men with guns is what they send, men with guns. So in this case, the Department of Agriculture comes up with their little rules, and if you don't follow their rules, they will send men with guns. Regulator controllers, right? But they don't do that, right? Because we have this little thing that stands in their way. And I think this is where the founders of our country, of the United States of America, were very brilliant. They gave us the U.S. Constitution, which, the liar, the cheater, the destroyer tries to tell you, oh, that's just an old document. That don't mean anything. Oh, really? I believe what I'm doing right now is a First Amendment thing. I have the First Amendment. I can say it to anybody that comes here. I can speak the truth. And that's my right under the First Amendment. I believe that there is a rifle in that room in there, a 22, but I believe I own that, and I'm owning that legally. That's the Second Amendment. I don't see any soldiers billeted here at my farm. That's the Third Amendment. The Fourth Amendment is nobody can come on this property unless they have my permission or a warrant issued upon testimony that I'm breaking law here, not regulation. So in essence, there's a chasm between the road and my farm from the regulators, right? They can't cross that. So I tried to get this point across to the people that I was briefing last week was there's an access issue. They don't have access to me, right? So without that access and without their ability to lie, cheat, and steal from me, without access to me, they're irrelevant. So these processes that we do here, and if you came here, you would see everything from gardening to butchering cattle, everything in between. None of those things are illegal against the law. There's no law written against them. These organizations like Department of Agriculture, they have their little rules, but that's not me. I'm not in their game at all, and they can't make me be in their game. It's just like they have rules that you have to have a license to cut hair. Well, my wife cuts my hair. She cuts my kids' hair. We have a poodle. She cuts her hair too. So it's kind of irrelevant when you look at this, but I think what goes on in this struggle for power in the election process is, we're going to give you all these things that you already have. We're going to give it to you. No, I already have those things. I have a border here. My border is secure. I have that. And I have my own my own security force here. And here he comes right now. Come here, Luke. There's my security force right there. He's eating a chicken foot right now that he just dug up. But my point is, I think we have all these things, but we're being deceived out of knowing that we have these things. I was talking with a friend of mine the other night, a kid I grew up with actually, and he's quite powerful in Washington, I guess, from what he tells me. And I said, he says, how you doing? I said, oh man, I'm doing great. I just love my life. And he says, really? Yeah, I really do. I eat good. I get to be with my wife. I have my work. I get to be me. I get to invent things. I get to see things and discover things. I have my children to be around, and I feel really good about that. And I explained that to him, and I'm not just, he knows me well enough to know that I'm not just saying it. I really have those things. I really believe those things. And I could hear the wonder in his voice. He says, I got to get out there. I'd like to come out with my son and maybe help you butcher a cow or a pig or something like that. Like, that's a real experience. And that has kind of curbed my thought process over the last couple days. Like, wow, people really thirst for reality, the real thing. Really, people thirst for that. And what I'm telling you now is that is all available to you. I mean, you just have to be able to you have to be able to discern the snake that says, well, you can just listen to us and you can have these things, right? You get our license and you can have these and pay your $170 a year and you can actually keep meat in your freezer, is what they will tell you that. I'm not kidding. Department of Agriculture is really a gas. They have a warehouse license, yeah. An egg selling license. I have a stack of wood over there. We cut the trees down, we blocked it up and split it, and we stacked it. And we're going to burn it in our wood stove. And I'm thinking that there's people in the parasite class, the destroyers, that are thinking, how can we get a piece of that action? I know, we can license them to burn wood to heat their homes. It's no joke. And there's people at very high levels that say, yes, we've got to do that because the environment, they'll say. It's really funny once you start to realize who the liars and the destroyers are. You come to a place of freedom, And I think I said this the other day. I said, I don't know, but when I discover something, I feel like I need to share it with you all. And until I share it, I have sort of a burden. Maybe that's true. And this morning, when all this came to me, I couldn't do anything else until I got this shared. I couldn't do anything else. And I said, okay, and I'll share it. I'll do that. You want me to do that? I'll do that. So I did. And, I don't do videos for clicks or anything like that. I don't make any dollars off it. That's not why I do it. This is where I make my dollars here. We need a certain amount of dollars to do things. And I'm even kind of wondering, do we even need those dollars, right? Could I go back to horse and wagon? I wouldn't need gasoline. Could I go back to a scythe for cutting my hay for the cows? Oh no, because you could never milk 40 cows. Well, I don't really need to milk 40 cows. If I milk 10 cows for the value of that milk, the actual value of that milk, I don't need to milk 40 cows. Yeah, but raw milk's illegal. It is? Where? Does that mean that my cows are illegal? Does that mean that my equipment for milking the cows? That's paraphernalia, they would say. Paraphernalia of an illegal process, right? So the whole thing is it's kind of fun. It only has power if you believe it. And again, just because something ain't true doesn't mean you can't believe it. Just because something ain't true. Because I know people right now, when they talk about cutting hair, they'll be like, well, I do it in my garage, so nobody comes in and sees what I'm doing, right? These are milk customers that are rolling through. There's a guy from New York. He had a New York milk customer. Huh. Because we have a store on our farm. We have a store. Is that legal? Yeah, from New York, so he's got to drive on the grass. Yeah, I can see it. You have a perfect 2-track going through here, but some people just got to drive on the grass. Not that it's a big deal. Anyway, that's what I wanted to get off my chest. More and more verses that I learned out of the Bible that really, okay, I learned them, but they didn't make much sense to me. They're starting to make sense to me in the farming business. Maybe it's just my age. I don't know. But you can see how, say, John 10:10, which the word abundantly kept hitting me when I was trying to get that presentation together for the thing that I briefed last week. And I looked it up, and it was pretty clear. There is a boogeyman out there. There is a liar, a cheater, a deceiver out there. But it's not like they're all powerful. It's not like they're all powerful. Like I said to you something about they will send men with guns. Well, they've done that here. The Department of Agriculture. They don't send them because they can't, but they will say to them, well, we're afraid of Mark, so you need to come to protect us. So the state police is like, okay. But, it wound up the state police in my driveway. They're more like me than the blue hairs from the Department of Agriculture. So I would converse with them, and they were totally at ease. I was totally at ease with them. I've been around guns my whole life. It's not a thing. It's the man behind the gun. And they were good people, I could tell. But the people from the Department of Agriculture, not good, not good. And it's too bad it's that way. I would think that the Department of Agriculture would be the ones that would say, hey, we're going to have a class this weekend and show you all how to process pigs. They don't do that. They'll say, that's very, it should be done at a USDA plant. They're trying to vector all process in their direction because that's where they gain power. Because they don't have it on their own, because the only thing they really have is their rules that they enforce or try to. That's all they have. They don't have a product, right? So we're far more powerful than they are if we do the thing, we produce off of our homesteads and small farms or big farms. We produce. We have the power. And they want to control. There's a lot of talk going around these days. He's a fascist. She's a fascist. You're a fascist. I'm an anti-fascist. I get a kick out of that because if you look up the definition, and I'm really into that whole definition thing, look up the definition of fascism. What it is, and I don't know why Trump doesn't get out there and say, do you know what the word fascist means? But the word fascism means privately held, so privately owned, government controlled. So if I allowed Department of Agriculture people to come here and write me a license for every damn thing that I do, from cutting hair to chopping wood to producing milk to butchering cattle to making sausages to making bacon and gardening and all that stuff, they will gladly do it. And I will be writing lots and lots of checks for licenses. But you know what that means, what a license is? A license is actually a contract. I sign it, they sign it, and I give them money. That's a pretty lopsided contract. But I give them the ability to access me, to come up my driveway per contract, the contract that I've signed, anytime. So, privately held, I own this farm, I guess. But they get the final say. So if I license through them, I am actually a fascist. They want control of a private process. They are truly fascists. But I don't have to do that per the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution because we are still a representative republic governed by a constitution. We still are. And the evidence, the fruit of that is free speech, 22 hanging on the wall, no soldiers billeted in my home. Billeted means staying in my home. And that chasm that exists between the road and my property. They cannot cross that without a piece of paper signed by a judge that withdraws my Fourth Amendment protection. So we are a representative republic governed by a constitution. And I had a conversation with a lady, real smart lady. She's friends with Thomas Massey, big congressman, big freedom type guy. And she said, you know what, we need to create a parallel system. A parallel system. Okay, so you have the USDA, MDA, health department system, and they have control because you're licensed under them, and they either give you the stick or the carrot. The carrot is they give out money. Oh yeah, money. They give out lots of money. But if you take their money, you got to do it their way. So the carrot is the money, and then you deviate from the way they want you to do it. Remember, government controlled. They'll give you the stick, right? But the parallel system is under the Fourth Amendment. It's the system that I'm working right now. It's my system, and I got my own regulations. I do things the way I want to do them. My customers either do business with me or they don't. It's up to them. And I'm not going to deviate from the way I do things unless it benefits my customers. And if it benefited them, they would say, well, I want to do business with Mark. So, and the way it used to be is every farm, every 80-acre farm had a family on it that made a good living, and they had their rules, the way they did stuff. Some of them monetarily did better than others, but some of them didn't care about that. They just wanted the way of life. They wanted to be content, and that's the way that they went. I think it's a balancing thing. You got to make a certain amount of money, but you want to be content. I'm not willing to milk 50 cows because I would be doing it all day long, but I'd have a lot of money. But how do you sell all that? You know, that's a lot of handling. And like right now, I have my own livestock division. I have my own milking division. I have my own bottling company, and it's all within house. And then we have our own marketing division too. That's my wife. And it works good. And then our customers, they tell their friends. So that's more marketing. Anyway, you get the idea, but that's how I'm gonna research more about division, right? Because you hear this, we need to unify. No, I don't want to do business with those guys because, first of all, they're not experts. They don't see the world the way I'm talking Department of Agriculture people. They're not into instructing each other. They're into control. So I don't want a lack of division. I want division with them. I want truth, right? So my decisions here are based on truth. Feed the cows better, you get more milk. That's a truth. That's not theory. That is truth. Keep the hay under cover. It's more nutritional. You'll do better. The cows will be healthier. Keep the cows healthy, and you don't have to spend money on medications for them. Keep the children healthy. You don't have to take them to the doctor. And all on and on it goes, but truth does stand on its own. And we have been given the ability to discern truth if we just listen. If we just listen. What? You can judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. I've been judging Department of Agriculture forever because I see the fruit that they bear, and it's wormy. It's wormy and it's rotten. But they like that because then they can refer you to their buddies that make this special potion that if you spray it on that tree, you won't get worms and rot. See? So they're working a system, and I get that. I think it's pretty evil, but you don't have to participate in that system. You don't have to. People just have been taught to believe in that system and that you must. You'll even see it on people's business card. Licensed. Ooh, you're licensed, huh? Oh, okay. You're licensed. That means you're an idiot. You pay them money and they give you a little slip of paper that's your license. You're an idiot. But anyway, I really have some misgivings about a new leadership that wants to make food healthy. Okay, I don't want the Department of Agriculture to have sweeping changes and you must, feed your soils. Because then you're going to have companies that pop up that say, oh, our stuff's good. And if you don't, I was thinking about this morning, like if we used a marketing campaign like say Pfizer did, and I know you know what I'm talking about here. They pulled the ultimate marketing campaign on America. They said, we've got this special snake oil here. If you don't take it, you'll die. So how about if I marketed raw milk that way? I got raw milk here. You don't take it, you're going to die. But there's probably more truth to that than their product, because their product actually is making people die. Yeah. Goes back to the Garden of Eden thing. It does. Take a bite of this apple. God told me not to. I'm not doing it. Did he really tell you not to? It's so in your face these days. All right, I've gone on a long time. I appreciate everybody listening. We'll see you next time. And remember, anyone can farm.